So I want to show how I'm using the new web audio font stuff. This is sound fonts that are, there's a library we can do these. And if you click on any of these pages, you can see that, for instance, if I click on this is a vibraphone. And there's tons of them, as you can see. Hit stop on it, we can play a chord. And we'd like to be able to use this in pianoply really easily. So for right now, what I've done, have it so let's go into a song here.
Said I needed something in my life.
We'll set the video volume low and the instrument volume high. This is the touch piano that I've currently got hacked in. All the other stuff from the Web Audio Tiny Synth still works, but if it's set to piano, it will use touch piano currently, but we also have the ability to say, to bring up my hack page, and let's, stop. Let's make this a reasonable size here, and go down to right here, where I have implemented Web Audio Font Player Test. And when I run it, it's going to give me three options: piano, steel drum, electric piano. Now I can hit init, and I only have to run init once per either running this or refreshing the pianoply page. But then I can hit load sound. Now let's just to show how it's going to work when it's playing here. As soon as I hit load sound, I'll do it on steel drum. Let's turn down the instrument a little bit. These are a little louder. We can deal with that. But just to show you the one other thing you can do, notice that these are nice friendly names, but these have these weird names like that. And I'm going to say, let's copy that and just paste it in here. And I can also load that sound. And this would be the vibraphone. So just show you a little bit about how this works. It's not too complicated, but you know, there's that much code. And it's basically pasted from the example, but we have our friendly names up here, which are just in an instrument map. And you can see I pull the samples from that just by getting the keys from this instrument map object. One of the most important things to pay attention to here is that I have a variable called win for window, and it's either going to be window or opener, and I have it set to opener. That means it's going to do as much as possible over in the pianoply window. You'll see I just do like win play. I actually load the JavaScript into the opener document body, which is win document body. That's the window we're using, the active window. That's where I put the JavaScript. I don't have to. I could do it in this document, but then the audio is going to be playing from this document, and that's not necessarily preferable. It's not a big deal. That's how I did it at first, but I just have everything as much as possible operating over in the opener document. And it's a little bit messy having to stick the win everything on there, but it's nice because if you if you rerun this, things still maintain their values, and you have the audio coming from that tab, so it doesn't start doing weird things if your tab isn't visible or what have you. You'll notice I do some logic down here. Here's the logic of allowing me to paste in that ugly string if it doesn't find it in the instrument map. So if there's no piano in there, you know, if the UI tells it piano, it'll then convert that to the ugly string. Otherwise, it'll just use the string directly. And we have logic in here so that each time it plays a note, it looks for this win new instrument and sees if it's there and tries to do the second step of loading, because otherwise it's unfortunate that their JavaScript files don't have any sort of callback, so we don't know when they're loaded other than looking for the variable. So we just look for the variable whenever we try to play the note, and so that happens here. And you can see it's replacing instruments play note and instruments stop note, and it'll still call the old synth. Opener synth is just the web audio tiny synth stuff that we've been using to date. Once you've changed this, if you want to go back to the touch piano one, you just have to refresh the page. I didn't have any logic for doing that here, but you can see that it's just, if the current index is piano, it will do this stuff, otherwise do the synth stuff. And all the other stuff is just pretty basic. We just want to have the init there, which does the things, loads the JavaScript, and separate that from the actual loading the instrument, which looks at only loading the instrument looks at the UI, the values here. First thing you only have to do once, and it just gets the JavaScript files and tries to get them loaded into the document. So that's it. It's pretty cool for a start. There is one other little piece of logic in there that you can play with if you want. You notice I say in here under play note, if the MIDI code is less than a certain amount, if you uncomment return, that will mean it won't play if the MIDI code is less than, I think that's middle C, or maybe that's the C below it. But if it's below that, it won't play. So if you don't want it to play the chords, that's something I want to do experimentation on and build a UI for, and have it so it can do two instruments, one for the lower part, one for the higher part. But for now, that was an interesting thing you can experiment with, and try it out.